Yeah. And again, everybody is not your client, and you have to be okay with that. Don't hem and haw about your pricing, because Angela would tell you when I first started, I was like, oh, but I didn't want to, and all this whining. And I get there, they got 5 Mercedes in the driveway.
I'm like, Kim, what are you doing?
I tell Angela, I said, girl, they had 5 Mercedes Benz in the driveway.
And you guys, as a mobile notary, most state laws, you have to let the person know how much you're charging for your travel or convenience fee before you get to them. So when you're going through that, you have to let them know how much your travel costs or your convenience fee is before you leave your house.
Mm-hmm. And anything mobile, we know it's gonna cost more up front, right? That's a service. Oh my God, I can't think of the word. A luxury. That's a luxury. When somebody drives to your home to provide you a service, they already know that's gonna cost money. They'll say, I didn't know it's gonna cost that much.
Or on the other hand, you have the other people like, oh my gosh, this is a great service.
Yep.
Oh, it's worth every penny. Oh, you're my notary now.
Yep. And quite honestly, guys, 95% are of that class. They are so appreciative that we came out in the rain and we came and helped their grandmother. We helped their mother. They are so appreciative. So Fatima had another one. She said, that's the thing I want to learn is business that makes things move forward. Yep. Check out our basic class. We got you.
NotaryEducatorsLLC.com.
Yep. Notary Educators LLC. So Lisa says authenticity is the secret sauce. That is so
Yes,
true.
that's so true. Be yourself.
Yeah, be yourself, be friendly, and know how to be a good notary. You can't fake that. If you get there and you're looking at the documents, even your loan signing, and if you nervous purpose, that's the person gonna want to read every single thing, because they like, she don't know what she's doing. I better read this. But if you walk in there and command the room, yes, ma'am, we'll have you sign A, B, C. Then they like, oh, okay.
I had people that I had to say, wait a minute, now you gonna be the notary, I'm gonna be the notary. I got this. Because they try to ask me, are you gonna do that? I'm like, I got this. Let me explain to you what I'm doing, and you take it from there, and they love it because they see, oh, she knows what she's doing.
Yes, yes. So Miss,
don't let them take over.
You have to be the expert. You are the expert in the room because you know more than they do, but you got to act like you do. If you act, like I said, if you act all scary, they gonna be scary, and they gonna take over longer. They gonna keep you longer. Say, preach, girl. So Jessica says, how can you be fair on pricing? Well, you'll know if it's too much because they'll let you know. And again, you got to kind of go by your area. So what someone in Atlanta can charge, because I'm in like a suburb, I cannot charge the same thing. I already know that. But am I going to not charge what I think I'm worth? Oh, yeah, I'm going to get my money because that's my time, gas, insurance. I mean, your supplies. And not to mention, this is my business. So, if I charge them $5, that might mean I don't pay my bill. So what's going to be, somebody going to be mad. Better them than me. Pamela says, how was your first notary experience? Were you nervous and how did you overcome it? You want to go first, Angela?
I'll go. So it's interesting. When my first notary experience, like for my business, I'm going to be honest. Yes, I was nervous, even though I had been notarizing documents for 30 years. But I had been doing it in a closed environment, like at an attorney's office where people came in and they said, I need you to notarize this. And I just sat down and did it and didn't have to worry about all this other stuff because I was in a law firm and it was their clients and I did it. And it wasn't I'm not worried about who this person is or are they trying to be fraud? No, I didn't have to worry about all that. So when I went to my first sign, I actually had like a loan modification. I was a little bit terrified a little bit. It wasn't because I didn't know what I was doing. It's like, okay, I got to make sure it's right. I got to make sure this person's documents are right because if this loan modification is not right, the company's going to send it back and then they're going to be mad at me. And yes, I was nervous, but how I overcame it, I said, you're a notary girl. You got this. You've been doing this all your life mostly. You know what you're doing. Just go do it and command that you know what you're doing. And that's what I did. I talked myself through it. I talked to myself like, you know what you're doing. So don't be afraid. Just do it.
Yeah, I would agree. Same thing Angela just said. I did make a mistake on one of my first ones. It was 2 people that signed the document. So actually I needed to stamp near the first person's name and the second person's name. And I only stamped by the daughter's name. So I was able to get it fixed because I had another notary to go fix it for me that was closer to her. But it's still nervous. I mean, honestly, when I get that phone call for general notary, especially even loan signing, because you don't know every single document. And remember, I don't teach and I don't recommend you learn that I have to know every single document. You're never
Okay.
going to know. So like Angela said, you just don't have to get yourself together. And if you don't know it, I'm Googling the document. Many a day I'm like, okay, what is that? I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at it. I may not know what it is, but by the time I look at it for a few minutes, that's why I don't take assignments like that. You got to give me at least an hour to look at my documents. Now, some people say, well, you shouldn't need an hour to look at your documents if you know what you're doing. I
That's
just
not
don't
true.
like to rush. And I'm of the mindset I'd rather have quality over quantity. So you can do 10 loan signings in a day, but how many of them going to have errors? I'd rather do 4 or 5 and I know my work is right.
I look at my documents 3 times before I take them to a customer. Every time I look at them 3 times.
Yeah.
Put the tags on them, look at them again. And even after with the customers, I look at them twice. And before I send them, send them back to the company. I look at them again.
Yeah. So everybody want to make, $10,000 a month. I get that, and I'm all about the money too. However, I'm about quality. Why? Because quality work will get you more work.
Right.
And you want to be a stable notary, not just a one hit wonder. You might make 10,000 this month because you did all them signings, but if your work ain't right, next month you ain't gonna get no signings.
Yeah, we went to a conference this weekend, and I like one thing that one of the guys said. I appreciate it. He says they call you. You get all these signings and all these mistakes. They gonna stop calling you. He said they keep calling him. He said because he makes sure it's right. So
Yeah.
that's what you want. You want to make sure your work is good. You want to make sure it's right.
Yeah. So if that means you do 1 or 2 less signings per day, whatever, you might not get all the money. I always say that too. You might not get all the money, but you'll get most of it, believe me. Miss Latasha says, how do you decide what your prices are? So we kind of talked about that again. You want to ask questions. Questions equal money. How many signers? Where am I going? What does my state say? Let's start
Yeah,
there.
start there.
We go over all of that in our basic class. If you felt like you needed to take that, we go over pricing. You don't have to take our class just for pricing. You can reach out and we'll have a conversation if that's all you need. Okay.
And Kim does have a video on pricing too. So
I do several whole playlists. Okay. So Miss Jeanette says, welcome, Miss Jeanette. Do you have signers and witnesses thumbprint on all signings? So in our state, thumbprints are not required. Guess what? In our state, a journal isn't even required. But we always recommend you have a journal. I don't care what state you are. Whatever your state is, you always have a journal. So it's not required in my state. I know California does have to thumbprint.
yeah,
I have to push back on that for you to check your state rules. Okay. However, I always identify all my witnesses. So
yeah.
even if that's not required by your state, I think that's good notary practice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm identifying everyone who's there, and I write that in my journal.
Yeah.
Do you offer general notary classes in apostille? The general notary class would be our basic notary class, so you can check that out. Ms. Val, we cover a lot of stuff that you need for general notary and to start your business. Apostille, we have not started yet. We are working on a class. We want to make sure it's simple and not complicated. So we're working on that. So Ms. Riri says, I'm waiting on my stamp. Should I volunteer somewhere to gain some general notary experience? I have 0. Oh, no, honey.
No, honey, don't volunteer.
No. What you can do is charge a little less, but we ain't giving
No
up.
volunteer. But not only that, you don't want to volunteer because you don't want to mess up anybody's stuff.
No, first of all, you need to get some training, and then you got to get your money for stamping documents. And if you occasionally want to do something for free, I mean, I did my neighbor last week. I didn't know he was my neighbor. He didn't either. He Googled me, Google my business. And he said, I think you're right in my neighborhood. So I didn't even charge him that day. I didn't even charge him. I could tell he had a situation. So he was prepared to pay. But I said, you don't have to pay for it. I said, leave me a review on Google. So he did that. Him and his son both.
I'll tell you how important it is to be a great notary. I had a signing yesterday. The lady called me. She was like 5 minutes from where I live. Her mother, in her like 70s, had a document. Apparently her parents had divorced. But her father got some notary to notarize his wife's signature so he could get ahead. Basically, the man messed it up. The notary did not notarize the document properly. This is 30 years ago. The notary did not notarize the document properly. And I had to get a new document that she had. She told me the whole story where I notarized it. And when I got there, she was telling me, I'm like, no, I need to do this. And I was telling her what I need to do. She said, you're right, because we got to do it over because the other notary didn't do all of this. So that's why you have to, the training that you need to be a great notary is necessary. Don't ever experiment on anybody, because if you do and you mess up their document, it could be 5, 10. This is 30 years later. This man, this lady has to have her document, and she had to pay an attorney, go through all these legal issues to get it straightened out because her whole life was involved. The money was involved. because they were getting a divorce. And so that's why I said you got to know what you're doing before you can start notarizing documents.
Yeah.
And
So
it's not that complicated.
it's not that complicated. And if you want to volunteer somewhere later, sure, you can do that. Just, at the kindness of your heart, because we are public servants. So if you want to take a day, that might even be a good marketing tool. But if you're trying to volunteer to get experience,
it's not one of those jobs. Just not one of those businesses where you can do that.